Hello.
You're breaking the law.
No, I'm not. Doesn't count for video game
Move over.
songs.
Quick, put your mask on.
Oh, right.
We're in the same household. You got to put your mask on. You got to move over.
Is this our opening gag?
Yes, here. Hold the end.
I'm not fond of making fun of the Los Angeles government. I refuse to scooch over because that will misalign the pillows that are keeping me sitting up straight. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Call Girls Investment Club podcast. I said it correctly.
I thought we'd talk about Bitcoin first. What do you think?
I think Bitcoin went crazy for a bit, and it's going to start going back to normal now. I'm not sure. I think it might go down. I think it might stay about where it is for now.
Well, get out your phone and look at a current chart.
I don't have my phone.
You didn't bring your phone? Mine's charging. It
I
got
brought
too
my
low.
computer.
Okay, here's my computer. I'll show you on the computer. I don't think I can show you. Hold on. I got to get on Robinhood because, like, if you just look on Bitcoin on the internet, it won't really show you. It's a terrible chart. But if Robinhood has a great Bitcoin chart.
I guess. I don't like the way they handle the one-day thing. I wish it was just the past 24 hours.
Yeah, I don't understand their one-day chart. Okay, go to 5 days. That's 5 days?
That's a week.
That doesn't look like my other chart. Go to a month. That looks different than what I expected. Nonetheless, do you see this pattern shape in the month chart?
Yes.
What does it make you think?
It makes me think it's going to do something.
Why?
Because it's a narrow...
It's a wedge. It's the tops are coming down. The bottoms are coming up.
Slice.
Let me see if I can get a better chart.
It's a slice of pepperoni pizza.
Yeah, it's a wedge. So it could either go up or down, but I feel like it's going to make a big move. The momentum, I don't mean the momentum like in stock terms, but the way everyone's thinking of it, it keeps coming up in conversation, and everyone's conversation. I see discussions about Tesla, and it comes up, oh, just buy Bitcoin, you know? People are telling Elon Musk, you should get your company valued in Bitcoin. I mean, it's
right.
it's everybody's. So here's this thing called the adoption curve. The 3 phases of the internet, this chart is called. And here's U.S. e-commerce penetration, retail sales. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to cut that out because that's boring.
What could be boring about penetration?
You see this shape of this curve? This applies to everything. It's like when coal replaced wood, when cars replaced horses, when ballpoint pens replaced fountain pens, when Tesla replaced autos, and when Bitcoin replaced dollars, which it could replace completely. I don't know, but it's getting more used. So it goes along. People start at the inflection point being aware of it. It suddenly becomes on everybody's consciousness. And there's a huge swing up, and then pretty much everyone's adopted it up here. No comment?
I don't have anything to say about that.
Well, this is an interesting chart because I think we're just down here at this inflection point as far as use of Bitcoin. I think the stock reflects more up here because people are looking ahead to the future and saying it's going to be universally adopted by mainstream, which it's being.
Right.
They're not done yet.
Right.
This is a 1-month chart of Bitcoin. It's got this big peak, then a dip, then another peak, then it's a lower peak and a higher dip. So I agree with you. It's like a wedge. This was somebody's prediction. Bitcoin going to $60,000 to $70,000.
That's an interesting prediction. I'm not sure. I mean, I guess it could. Who knows?
They're kind of expecting it to go suddenly to the stratosphere.
And I mean, that does line up a lot with what it currently looks like.
Yeah, I think I know what this is based on. A friend, Stanton Cruz, told me about this thing called the hyperwave theory. This actually came out in the 1930s for the stock market, and they talked about it again in the 80s. It's this chart. It starts with a slope, and then a steeper slope, and then a way steeper slope, and a peak, and then a big drop-off, and then a second peak, and then another big drop-off. And that chart pattern looks familiar to me. My friend Stanton Cruz, who told me about this chart pattern, said that he feels that Bitcoin broke this pattern.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like other stocks still follow that pattern. I'll come back to that, but I feel like technology stocks, like the TQQQ, if we were on this hyperwave chart and Bitcoin, we could still be at number 3 right now.
I mean, I guess so, or we could also be on number 6.
It does look like that, doesn't it?
Like, if you count the initial jump that we had back, like, years and years ago, or even if you don't, it could
this
still
is a
look
1
like
month.
that.
Yeah, like this 1 month chart almost looks like it. But then when it came down, it didn't drop like a rock.
That's true, it didn't.
But maybe it's about to.
It could be. I think with a wedge, it goes either way, right?
Yeah, Stanton Cruz told me he thinks that it broke this pattern. That once it reached another high, because if you look at the longer term chart, it breached this. Instead of having a lower point on number 6, it reached a higher point on number 6. So he feels like it broke this pattern.
Right.
Of course, with Bitcoin, it can go up 3%, and then if you own Riot, look at this, it went up 20% that day. That was January 14.
Our microphones are picking that up, by the way.
Picking what up? The meowing?
This cat. Hi.
So anytime there's a rise of 20% in a stock, it's almost inevitable the next day it'll go down. Have you ever seen that?
So no, I agree with that. Just like as soon as a stock gets up past a certain point, like if it goes crazy up, it's going to come down a little.
Yeah. So here was the end of the day. I sold it at about 19% up, and it ended the day at 21% up. This is after hours. It was down 4%.
Mm-hmm.
So you convinced me to day trade. I'm really glad you did, because like when it hit the 20%, my options hit something like 200% return.
Right. And I got you to sell half, right?
Yeah, I decided to sell half and play with the house's money. But then I decided to sell it all because the options I had were going to expire in a few weeks. And then I bought back in, but I bought longer term options. I bought way longer term options with that half.
Right.
Because I was thinking that I'll day trade with part of the money. I'll just buy in and buy out and sell real quick little day trades with short term options to maximize my profits. But I'll always keep that little bunch of longer term options. That way I'll never feel like I'm missing out, because psychologically I can't feel like I'm missing out or I'll make mistakes.
So now, because of me, even if the stock crashes tonight, you will have made money, right?
Well, you see this chart here, this was on Friday where it really dropped off.
Mm-hmm.
I decided, okay, now it's time to start day trading with a smaller amount. So I bought more.
Okay.
It was Friday. It's a little lower now, I think, actually. It was 36 when I just looked at it. But as long as I just sell it when it's higher, it's fine. It's impossible to call the bottom completely. I just thought that looked like it was low enough that it would be worth getting back in.
And you should remember that Riot is on a delay as well.
Well, I can't prove that. I noticed that it wasn't even delayed the last couple times, so maybe it's catching up. How much did you make this week?
I made $600 out of my $1,000 that I started with.
So now, what's your balance?
About 1,500 now, because I bought more options with the 600. But,
yeah, you did. When was that? Friday?
Yeah, that was Friday.
And did it go down after you bought them?
I mean, I bought them right when the market closed, so I don't know.
So what? But you have $100 less?
I think no, I don't know.
Well, that could be because when you buy options, sometimes their actual value is listed is halfway between the bid and the ask, and sometimes you have to bid enough to get the stock, and it's a higher price than what the average is. So It immediately shows a loss. The second thing I wanted to talk about was I'm concerned about tech.
See, when you highlight multiple things and then open all of them, you open all of them.
I just wanted to talk. This is the week in TQQQ, which represents tech. Did you hear what happened with Twitter? I mean, I know everyone knows Twitter banned Trump. There were multiple senators making speeches saying they shouldn't impeach Trump, and two of them immediately after their speech got banned off of Twitter for various reasons. People are mad. More people are getting mad because Twitter did this huge purge where they nixed 20,000, I think it was 20,000 accounts. They keep killing accounts. There's a leaked video of Jack Dorsey, the head of Twitter, saying, this is just the beginning. We're going to censor a lot more accounts.
I thought I heard someone on Twitter said that sets a bad precedent.
Do you agree?
Yeah, of course, obviously.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's going to agree about this.
I don't know if I agree with... I think that even if Donald Trump was inciting the violence, which I don't think was entirely his fault, and I don't think you can entirely blame it on him, I also think that it's just not a good idea to censor him censor anyone of a major political point on Twitter. I don't know.
He's the president of the United States. If you censor the president of the United States, people elected him. So whether you agree with him or not, who is the company to decide what you can and can't hear?
I mean, it's their platform. They're allowed to do whatever they want with it.
I've heard that argument, but you know who disagrees? Poland. Poland decided every time a big tech firm is going to censor something that should not have been censored, they're going to fine them $2.2 million.
Okay, that's a good...
Yeah, I'm psyched. You know who else disagrees? Idaho. North Idaho internet provider blocked Twitter and Facebook because it's censoring people. And they don't agree. Okay, here's another thing. There's a rival to Twitter called Parler, which a lot of Republicans went to. And Parler got targeted because everyone was saying, oh, if you don't like it, go get your own platform, to the Republicans. So they all flocked to Parler. So Parler had multiple millions of subscribers in the past week. They got huge. And then all of a sudden, Amazon said, we're not going to host Parler's internet servers anymore. We're going to take them down. They gave them 2 days notice. They said because there's incitement of riots and violence on your platform and you're not controlling it. So they completely shut them down. Google Store stops carrying them. Apple Store stopped carrying the app. Android stopped carrying the app. One by one, all these tech companies decided to put an end to Parler, which is the competition.
Oh, so God. At this rate, it's going to wind up with just all of the Republicans are on 4chan now.
Well, somebody pointed out, and then they all got kicked off Parler because Parler's gone. So they all went to this thing called Gab. And most of the Trump supporters I know are not talking about violence. They're all talking about, you have to stay home because this is a trap. They're trying to make us look bad. And I don't know who's chattering about, FBI says there's a whole bunch of chatter about violence on the inauguration. But it's not any Trump supporters.
Well, I don't doubt that there is.
There's
talk
probably
about
kooks.
Violence.
There's some kooks.
Because of course, that's how the internet works. Is there's always going to be
kooks.
That's
so,
freaking that's part.
There's
of
been
what,
kooks since
YouTube.
The 1800s. But the thing is, Gab now. There's a headline I just read where I don't know if they're kidding or what, but they've got a great idea. They're saying, hey, the FBI is saying there's a lot of chatter on Twitter and Facebook right now fomenting violence for the inauguration. So Twitter and Facebook should be brought down and not carried on these servers. If they're going to not carry Parler, then they should equally not carry Facebook and Twitter.
Right.
So I don't know. There's a lot of... The reason I bring all this up, I don't care what your politics are, but as an investor, they're angry at Apple, Twitter, Facebook, Amazon, Google, because Google's been interfering with YouTube, taking down accounts. These five, they're the majority of the TQQQ. So I used to love trading the TQQQ. It's not political reasons I'm not trading the TQQQ anymore. It's because I don't think it's going to do well. I think the whole stock market might be poised to go down. I feel like everything's been overvalued. Nobody's been talking about all the people that are charging their lives to credit cards right now to get through the pandemic. I mean, we've been here for a year, right?
Right.
So anybody with credit cards must be putting something on their credit card. You see all these people in food lines and everything, but if they have credit cards, they're going to use them. So I feel the banks are shouldering a big bubble of credit that is not going to get paid back, and nobody's talking about it. I did a search on bankruptcies on the government website, and it actually said bankruptcies are lower. And I tried to understand why, and I believe it's because with all these programs for the pandemic, everything's being pushed down the road. People are not getting kicked out of their apartments. Everybody's saying you don't have to pay your rent and you'll stay in your apartment because the landlord has to shoulder that burden because of the law for COVID.
Right.
And a lot of credit companies, like my auto loan company, they give you an extra month free and you can move your deadline 15 days later. A lot of credit card companies are renegotiating. So people are getting more and more in debt, I think, in general. I feel like ultimately that's going to cause a problem with the stock market because when the banks finally take that hit, I think it's going to affect everybody.
I think you're really smart and you're talking really a lot of sense right now. I don't know how to make my face look like I'm listening to you when I'm listening to you. I'm just sitting here going like,
Well, I feel like I'm going off on a tangent because
I'm like sitting here and it's like the camera's pointed at me. I got to look like I'm listening. I got to look like I'm in thought. And every time I tried to do that in the past, it's only made you think I wasn't listening to you.
Well, I kind of went off diversion on a tangent because I feel like there's a lot of factors all coming to a head on tech. It used to be called FAANG by Jim Cramer: Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google. But they've been pushed and pushed and pushed up. The pandemic may be ending with the vaccines, in which case people will get out more, supposedly, and use the internet less, supposedly. There's so many factors that are all coming to a head now.
I don't think Netflix is a part of that.
Well, I do feel like also with the money printing, there's a pressure for all stocks to keep rising. So I don't want to bet against it. But I feel that it's a really risky bet to stick with all these high-tech companies when they're about to. I feel like that will be a snowball effect with Idaho and with Poland, that other people will follow suit. They were already going to have people regulating them. Congress was already bipartisan. Everybody wanted to regulate Twitter and Facebook. Nobody thinks they should have that much power. But every other time they've talked to Facebook and Twitter and tried to come up with legislation, they've failed. The corporation always wins, so I don't know if anything's going to be different. I just think it's a bad idea to invest in those guys right now.
I agree.
I don't trust it. And I predicted to my followers that when JP Morgan did their earnings report on Thursday, that might be the beginning of the end, because I thought there would be a lot of bankruptcies, but JP Morgan supposedly had a really good earnings report, so the stock went down. I don't know why. With a good earnings report, the stock would go down, but maybe everyone's thinking the same way I am. Maybe that's the last good quarter. And one other thing was Tesla. Somebody printed that curve. Here's the same curve. This is the curve of adoption rates, like we were talking about. They're pointing down here. They're saying this is where we are, 2020. They're predicting Tesla is going to do this. That makes sense, but I feel that the stock market has already taken that into account in a big way. I
think so too.
People are living up here right now in the stock market.
Yeah.
I mean, 1,000 times earnings. So selling my options, playing with the house's money, I tried, but, I got back in. What were your experiences this week? Were you excited about buying options?
I'm excited because I've made money. I made a decent chunk of money for the first time ever in investment.
You've made 60% return on your portfolio since we started.
Yes.
Which is about, actually, you started maybe 5 weeks ago.
I did, but I've been trading off and on. I haven't done a lot of trades.
I actually feel that just two weeks ago is when you started options.
It feels that way, doesn't it? I only started options 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I only traded options once.
And you made how much?
I made 600
in just one trade.
No, wait, it was two. It was two trades. I traded options once, and I made only a little bit of money. And then the second time, I made a bunch of money.
Was that when you got out and I said, no, you should get back in?
Yes, I think it was.
Good thing it went the right way.
It was one of those. No, I don't remember. I talk frantically, and it's hard to follow. And I think that you might have a different idea of what happened from what actually happened, and I don't remember.
Honestly, the feeling is always when it's up high, you want to buy more, and when it's down low, you want to sell more. That's human nature. But you're supposed to do the opposite.
Yeah,
you're supposed to do the opposite. But Bitcoin has been really easy because it's trending up. So day trading should be easy. If I just buy every time it takes a dip and wait, I'm feeling like it'll be like child's play. I should be able to do it. I don't see any way Bitcoin will go down in the near future because too many people are piling into it still.
Mm-hmm.
What is your plan for the week?
My plan for the week is...
Do you want to try day trading it?
I'm going to wait.
You did day trade
I'm going to wait and see where this option goes. I didn't day trade anything.
You sold the next day?
Yeah.
That's called swing trading. You're a swing trader now.
Yeah. And besides, I think that right now I just need to get more experience with options. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to hold off on investing like large amounts of money, like all my money. And I'm just going to work on investing the extra that I made, the 600 that I made, and see where that gets me.
I feel it's options is a good way to do that because you can take a very small amount and it's as if you're investing a lot more.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just sticking with Bitcoin. I'm not buying Tesla. I'm not buying FAANG. I'm not buying banks, even though people like banks right now.
Right. And we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. So that's where we're at today. It was a short one, but
bye,
Bitcoin,
everyone.
Bitcoin. Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.